Why can't I? There we are. All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome to the Fanatics of Film. Thanks so much for joining me here. And just a quick thing. Just wanted to reach out to everybody here at the Phantom Menace. And I just got a quick thing I wrote up for today that I wanted to say. What once had united us has been weaponized and turned against us. Like a giant army of replicants designed to silence us, designed to slander us, designed to falsely accuse, shame fathers and sons. Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters who have built this fandom. Fathers and sons who made these franchises successful, who are now forced to defend ourselves and defend our myths. Welcome to the battle in this current social war that was declared to defend our very own freedom of speech, to defend the very integrity of our stories, characters, and our own character as individuals and as a collective. Hail the Phantom Menace. Anyway, thanks. Welcome, Itchy Bacca. We've got this amazing guy here with me. Everyone just wanted to let you know, all know about him. If you don't, which I'm sure you do if you're in on the stream, thanks. Hello, hail, Bionic Belly Button. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're just going to get in and get out here and make it short and sweet and have a blast. But I did want to kind of let everybody know Itchy Bacca does have a current campaign going, and it's in the description there. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to put this in the description. I was trying to get it inside the chat, but let's see if I can figure out how to do that. But the main thing is here. We just want to kind of outline what the things that he went through. I mean, this poor guy. From the stories that I've listened to and from what you've told me for so many times, I've been following you for a long ass time. And since the very beginning, December of, I know that you've been doing this a little bit longer, but it's from what it sounds like to me is that your very first blog post that you started this whole Disney Star Wars is dumb was right after The Last Jedi. Was it that December of 2017?
Yeah, it was shortly after The Last Jedi.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so the very last interview that I heard you say, you were talking about how you had basically you would try to express your feelings and there was really no outlet.
Yeah. So, I would go to movie boards like IMDb.com when they still had their movie boards, or various discussion boards, or comment section and blog posts just to post my comments. I was never threatening anybody or anything like that. But the comments were always redacted or deleted. So I said the hell with it and started a blog where I couldn't be touched.
So awesome. It's great. I love it. How like people said just the other day, the internet is forever. This is something that it needs to be documented. It's literally us against them. It is the regular people against media. And that's essentially what it is. And it's actually hilarious how this whole thing is built upon YouTube, that it's supposed to be this, indie thing, that's an independent thing that had started originally just for independent people and in general, and has been hijacked by the mainstream media because now it's just the coolest place to go. And they want to change everybody's narrative, everybody's point of view. They want to basically brainwash people, and it's literally been us against them.
Yeah, it certainly has been. They come out swinging, calling people racists and misogynists when they criticize their movie, and that's really where it all starts.
You know what's so funny is I don't even know what the word misogynist meant until, and it's like because I was unaware.
Yeah,
I was unaware of anyone.
Yeah.
By the way, the links in the chat there, everybody. If you haven't backed Itchy Bacca, he's right there, and he's going strong here, but we need to support him. So even if you can, is there a minimum? Is there a minimum for support? I mean,
there's no minimum. no minimum at all. Other folks have thrown in $10 here and there.
Okay, great, awesome. That's great.
And there's a few trailers up on the IndieGoGo page you can watch and stuff that I have up there.
Cool. So it's just it's one of those things. Go ahead.
It's funny hearing you say that about the word misogynist, because back in 2000 to 2004, I was going through this exact same stuff with the Battlestar fandom. And it was exactly the same thing. They were doing this remake, and the old fans criticized the show. They were called racist and misogynist, all exactly the same. And before then, you might have seen the word misogynist once a year, maybe. And after that, you saw it in almost every post, the word in every single post. It was crazy. I wasn't that familiar with the word prior to that either,
And apparently we all are. Like that's
now we are. Yeah.
Apparently it's this thing that has become, and once again, people are just, they're making things up. They're telling these random things, and they're able to use these terms that will just dismiss someone entirely.
It's a way to avoid having to discuss and argue against ideas. They don't have any merits to their ideas, so they have to rely on you're this, you're that,
They must discredit you.
Yeah.
And that's the only way they can do it, by calling names instead of actually presenting an actual argument or coming upon, really having to have some sort of some ground to stand on any of their arguments. So it's just it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist, so forgive me for any of my things, but it's just because part of me, I do watch a little bit too much YouTube and that type of things. But my point is that I do see a lot of what's happening. And I do believe that a lot of this is behind. There's a lot more motivation in here, and I really strongly believe that there's so much more to this. If anybody, if you haven't seen the full length documentary on Gamergate, holy cow! It is unbelievable how. I mean, from the very beginning, they were, trying to indoctrinate people from the beginning. So
it's in 2019. It seems to have accelerated quite a bit. It really has, and it's a shame because it doesn't need to be that way.
And I'm gonna revert right back to what you and Ruin the Man Baby were talking about briefly. And by the way, I had been following both of you since December of 2017, and so that was something that was great to see both of you guys doing. From what your last conversation, you were talking about how none of us, like in the Phantom Menace in general, like a lot of us, we don't want to have politics involved in the conversation. We don't want to have it in the entertainment. And unfortunately, we're forced to have the conversation because there's so much of it's there all the time, no matter what. It's there.
Right. I generally speaking, I actually hate the topic of politics because there's so much bullshit involved in it. But there comes a time where you end up being pulled into these arguments and these conversations and these debates, reluctantly.
Yes.
And I know you're not a big, you're not a big believer of conspiracy, as you say, or, maybe a little bit.
I said that I am actually.
Okay. Well,
I was pointing out that I actually am.
Well, I mean, it's people conspire. They get together to do bad things. People get together to do bad things. The word today for conspiracy is organized. Today they organize. But it's the same thing. They get together to do bad things. That's why we have a CIA and FBI.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, it's just crazy because I just know that Nerdrotic, like all these big channels, are trying to say we don't care about politics, blah blah blah. But I think for me personally, I think that there's going to be a point where we're going to be forced to, because and I mean we already are.
It has to be addressed.
Yeah. It's sad and horrible, but I think the reason why I personally feel like that it has to be addressed is because it's deep rooted. It's to the point where it's making people lie. I mean, look at what happened to Doomcock.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and it's only a matter of time before it happens to you and I. We're going to get called alt-right, Nazi, and racist, and all that thing. Yeah. It's going to happen. So it's like it's horrible and ridiculous, and people are they're treated as these they're treated like real journalists when they shouldn't be. They're not real journalists, and you, my good sir, are a real journalist in an ocean of.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind. But yeah, no, they're not journalists. They're activists. They're political activists. That's really all they are.
Political activists who don't do their research and don't do anything of real research or any of that stuff. All they do is just poke and call names. That's all.
Yeah, very rarely. Most of their research seems to be come from each other. They read each other's articles and that's it.
Yeah.
And so the general consensus that they themselves made up tends to be the body of their research.
Yeah, it's the echo chamber. It's this constant belief that, it's because Origin Man bad or whatever, and there's stupid things. So everybody, please, if you haven't checked out the IndieGoGo, Disney Star Wars is dumb. It looks like it jumped up. It was at a lower percentage before, and now it's up. So thanks forever for anyone who has clicked on that and backed it. You can give whatever you want. It looks like you can give as little as $10. I gave 25 my last time here. So please, help out Itchy Bacca. He's been doing this a long time, and this is important stuff. This is important to our history in entertainment, in anything that's going on right now. It deserves a support that it deserves all of our support. So.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who's supporting.
Okay, so you said, I'm just going to go into some of the last things that were discussed. So what was the first thing what was your very first blog post? And you have to forgive me. I was going to get to it, but I got lost in all the brand new stuff. So what was the first blog post that you posted on your blog?
So the first blog post was pretty much, there was nothing to it. It's just me saying, here I am, I'm opening up this blog,
Okay.
But the second blog post was really me laying out why I felt that the Star Wars brand was now dead, kind of laying out my reasons and linking to sources, and putting forth that theory, and why I thought that way. So that was really where it all started.
That's awesome. It's okay. So we're going to get forward here. And I just wanted to talk about, you said, let's see. He would, let's see. Okay. So you got rejected and then they just kept coming. You said that last time you spoke with Ryan, you were saying that he had kind of created, basically it wasn't true feminism. It was just this kind of faux femme. And everybody knows that. Everybody with a brain, with half a brain, really understands that and really knows it. And I think that the younger people have been brainwashed to think otherwise. They don't understand that there actually have been these other movements. These are the things that have been true feminism. And you said, I love your quote. You said that Ryan had created Barbarella essentially.
more or less unintentionally.
Yeah,
because they're not aware of the history, of the past. They let it die, right?
Yeah.
So, they unintentionally recreate all this exploitation fare, and the good female protagonists like Ellen Ripley, or Diana from V. V had a great female protagonist and villain. These are all forgotten.
I loved that original V series. I enjoyed the hell out of that.
In fact, Diana is my favorite villain, second only to Darth Vader.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's so
she's
great.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I did watch it about 8 years ago. I rewatched the first 5 episodes of the first season, and it is pretty awesome. It's amazing how they were able to divide our very own people, and they're just making other people think, no, they're great. No, they're this, no, they're that.
Right.
And they really literally divided the entire world into being on their side. And that was brilliant about it. It was taking this other race of lizard people who would basically just would divide our very selves.
Yeah. It was excellent. And, but unfortunately those great female characters are forgotten, and they go on this play acting. Like this pretending that they're making these great civil rights strides, that, you know, all of a sudden now there's female protagonists out of the blue, like it's never happened, when in fact they've been around for decades. It's so bizarre. You know.
Yeah. So really quick, Blackhat Cinephiles on the chat. He and Death by a Saber. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. Bionic Belly Button. Bionic Belly Button says nice Blade Runner reference. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So by the way, real quick, I want to plug Blackhat Cinephile is a great writer who who actually, I don't know if you know him, but you guys, anyway, Blackhat Cinephile, if you're not on Twitter, you should get on Twitter and hook up with Itchy. These guys are real writers. They have a group of writers called the Phantom Menace Writers. Yeah. And anyway, you should hook up with these guys and definitely communicate with them, because he's trying to get people to know about his book, and it's called The Retaliators. It's amazing. So anyway,
okay.
Everybody just check him out. So go ahead.
But I was going to say, in regards to, you know, feminism, that's something I'm trying to get better at articulating on my blog. There's definitely, you know, there's the feminist who just wants equal opportunity, folks like Jesse Milestone or Mecca 42 or Mecca Random, and you know, that Star Wars girl. You know, these are normal folks. These are completely different from the feminists who dye their armpit hair purple or use their own menstrual blood for perfume. You know, those are the feminists that I'm writing about when I criticize them. I'm not really talking about the former type of feminists.
Yeah, and so I mean that's all those things are fine and dandy, but you know, I guess to each his own. But
yeah.
I mean, it is one of those things where we're supposed to say, okay, anyway, you know, everybody can do their own thing, and it's just nuts. But I agree with you though. I agree. There's a different ideology. There's the fourth wave, and then there's the first wave, and so. Yeah. I mean, quite honestly, it could be about equality, and so when you swing one other way, all you're going to do is create animosity and creates problems, and that's what creates the misogyny. The misandry creates the misogyny, and vice versa. So,
in fact, in regards to that topic, I've got a story I'm ready to publish right now, live on air. If you're ready for it.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. And it should be up right now. I'm going to go ahead and tweet it out.
Okay, so let's see if I can. Hopefully, I can screen share without my computer crashing. It has been having some issues, but hopefully, let's see if we can. That is one thing that I have to kind of get the hang of better here.
Sure, that's all right.
Let's see if I can find you. Okay, I'll pull your.
There we go. I just tagged you on it.
Awesome. Okay, let me see if I can pull that. Oh, awesome. Okay. All right, let's see if I can. Let's see, how do you do the screen share? Okay. This is new to me. You have to forgive me.
No, that's quite all right.
I appreciate your patience with that.
So I'll give a little, while you're doing that, I'll give a little background on the story. Previously, I had written about Molly Damon of Star Wars Explained. She was kind of calling the Phantom Menace a hate group. She basically outright said it. And shortly thereafter, George Lucas was outed as Phantom Menace by Bob Iger. So I put forth a theory asking, is she calling George Lucas a member of a hate group? You know, it's kind of a half joke. You know, it's just,
no, that's great.
But then now, just recently, she decided to block everybody who follows Geeks and Gamers because everybody was responding to it on Twitter. And now I just found. Or another guy, Demon Synthwave, and Stephen Wayne Art and Jar Jar Abrams, they found pictures of her sporting the Fanboy Tears mug, putting that out there. You know, she's the one who's wearing T-shirts about force against cyberbullying, but yet here she is dishing it out.
Let's see if we can pull. I'm trying to pull the actual here. Okay, so here we go. So recently, okay, do you let's see. Ollie Damon and Star Wars explained potentially accusing George. Oh, that's right. I remember that. I do remember this happening just the other day. This was just the other day.
Right.
And I remember they were just talking about this on the High Council last night.
Yeah.
So this is it showing in the screen? Hopefully, I think it is now.
Just the tweet is.
Okay. Well, I clicked on it, but okay, hold on. I'm still doing. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can. Darn it. Okay. Why? All right. Screen share. Home tab. There we go. Here we go. Finally. I'm finally figuring this out. Thanks so much, everybody, for being so patient.
Yeah, it takes a little while.
Yeah, takes a minute, but you know.
So there she is talking about the blockchain she did because everyone was quote unquote harassing her in response to her comments calling the Fandom Menace a hate group.
Alex did a blockchain. Okay, yeah. And block anyone who's calling Jeremy and the Phantom Menace. Okay, great. Good for you. Honestly, it was for our own mental health. We've been harassed by them for years, and sometimes we set boundaries. We appreciate your honesty and understanding. So that's interesting that she says we appreciate your honesty.
Yeah. And then you'll see down below there she is wearing her Force Against Cyberbullying t-shirt. You know. And her Feminist Fan Agenda t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
And then right below that, there she is sporting the Fanboy Tears mugs. She's publishing on Instagram.
Just like D Goots, right?
Yeah. So she can dish it out, but she can't take it. You know.
Cyberbullying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that's not at all cyberbullying in and of itself.
Yeah.
Hypocrisy at its finest. Here we are.
Yeah. Exactly. There it is all over again.
Oh my goodness.
Every time.
Help, misogyny.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Every time. The same little play. It's the same performance every time.
That's all they do is just completely just chalk it up to misogyny, and that's all it is. And misogynist. And I remember when like Hillary Clinton first said this, it was like this big awakening to all these horrible men who hated women, and it's just like actually no, you're just wrong. You're just completely and totally wrong. Well, there they are hanging out with Chuck, our good man Chuck Wendig. So
Chuck.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I have to say something. It's pretty funny. I actually did. I did read his books. Did you? I don't know if you read any of his books, but I just have to share a funny anecdote from those books. I mean, it was just. I was just a guy who was trying to just drink in more Star Wars because that's all I wanted. I just wanted more Star Wars. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, it was like right before The Force Awakens came out and his Aftermath trilogy was starting to be released. And that was the first time I had to kind of see that was when he first was calling people, what did he say? He was calling, "You're the Empire, man." Blah, blah, blah. Like he was just like throwing accusations out at people who didn't want to be forced down. It's like, and I think one of the funniest things is that he brought sex into Star Wars in the first place. I think that was the first time that we had seen it, and I didn't care. But it's like a friend of mine pointed out to me. He said, "No, man, you don't do that. You don't bring sex into Star Wars. You just don't do it. It's not part of the. I mean, it was part of the the prequels because they had to conceive Anakin." Right, right. But you don't. But you do. but you just don't. Anyway,
you don't show it. You know. Yeah.
Or you don't make it this overt part of the story. Right. You don't make it this big thing like, oh, so and so likes to bang robots or so whatever, and it's just silly.
It's more. It's been more romance as opposed to just crude sex. Because once you start getting into that kind of material, then it starts shifting from Flash Gordon to Flesh Gordon.
Yes.
And then it becomes a mockery of itself.
Yes. Yeah. It It completely is, and I just remembered. So my story was with good old Chuck here, is that he So anyway, if any of you are listening, thanks so much for joining us, Stephen Walton. I just listened to your interview with John Toxer today. It was fantastic, amazing interview. Thanks so much for joining us.
John Tox is awesome.
Yeah, and that was a great episode. Stephen Walton, holy shit, man! I can't wait for your book. You said that your book's coming out this month, or at least next month, sometime. I think you said November, sometime, I think you said sometime before before episode 9 comes out. So everybody,
yeah, that'll be great. That'll be really good. I'm looking forward to that one too.
Yeah. And but the few of you guys are part of a collective, right? A collective of writers on Twitter, I think, right? No, yeah.
Well, a
little bit.
We get together and talk.
Okay, cool.
I think we're all individuals, so
right.
We don't really, I kind of am adverse to the word collective because it's used so often by some of these SJWs, and it's used as
a weapon.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes, and it's used to kind of push groupthink. And so I kind of shy away from that a little bit.
Forgive me for that. I didn't.
No, nothing to forgive. Yeah, no.
So really quickly, Kermit the Log says, "I brought sex to YouTube." Everybody go subscribe to Kermit the Log if you haven't. This guy is hilarious. One of the funniest people I've ever met. The guy is brilliant and hilarious. We made a movie together, and that was awesome. I did the music for it. It was fantastic. Yeah. Reclaimer 117 says, "Wish I had 3 hands." Anyway, thanks so much, all of you, for joining us here at the appreciate you so much. We're just pointing out this breaking news that Itchy Bacca has kind of bestowed upon us stuff that was being discussed on Tuesday in the High Council, and now being exposed on Disney Star Wars is dumb. If you have not checked out, if you have not backed it, you can back it for as little as $5 or $10. Please do so. The link is in the chat. I put it in the chat earlier. I will do it in a second, but it's to the IndieGoGo account of Itchy Bacca. So please support this guy. He knows what he's doing. He is good at his work. He exposes the stuff that needs to be exposed otherwise we are held defenseless. We are defenseless against mainstream media, the same type of mainstream media that is CNN and MSNBC and all these other crazy people who want to instill communism in our country. Anyway, I'm not going to
Well, thank you very much.
He is brilliant, and please back him if you can, everyone. Check his thing out. It's here at Disney Star Wars is dumb. So anyways, I'm trying to get on track here. Let's see. Stephen Walton. We are a group of independent writers who support one another. I like Kermit says I like group pink. Okay, so okay, so great stuff, man. So really quick, let's see what else. I hate looking at that photo. That photo makes me want to puke.
Yeah.
But there was something that I wanted to bring about. There was another. Did you have more to say? Did you have anything more you wanted to say about this that you wanted to highlight, please?
Nothing in particular. That's pretty much the gist of it right there.
I just remember being so pissed off when the first Fanboy Tears thing came out because I was actually a fan of the Star Wars show. The Star Wars show. Remember? It was because I just literally could not get it. It was like more Star Wars, bring me more Star Wars, sure. And none of us had really kind of understood what was happening yet. And I was just like, give me more. And so, D Goots, I followed her. I was following all the Jedi Council guys and all that stuff, and I was all excited for more Star Wars. I wanted to see more Luke. Luke Skywalker is my guy, and that was the thing. So when she pulled that, Fanboy Tears thing, I was just like, really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was incredible. I've got a clip of her in one of my trailers drinking out of it from a GIF that she posted. I don't remember the exact story, but I have a couple blog posts on it if folks want to look them up, where she was talking about how she's just posted one picture and it was unrelated to anything. And then they found more pictures of it and her saying that it's her favorite GIF now of her drinking out of it. And,
Would it be under D Goots, or would it be?
It could be. Or Andy Gutierrez, I believe her name is.
Gutierrez, yeah.
Yeah.
See. Andy Gutierrez likes to repeatedly lie about her dumb little mug.
Yeah.
Is that the one, maybe? Is that it?
That's probably one of them. There's 2 or 3 posts about that particular.
Yeah, are you guys seeing all this? Are you guys seeing this? Hopefully you are. I think you are. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty silly. Let's see. Blackhat Cinephile says, "I am a singular collective." That's exactly yes. We're a singular collective.
Yeah.
Let's see. Twitter uses Roboto recently asked a legitimate question about Andy Gutierrez's notorious Fanboy Tears bug and its relationship to the dumbest Star Wars T-shirt ever made. Okay, so let's look at this. So we're going to just look at this for a second. Star Wars is for everyone. There, dude. What?
Yeah, it's for everyone except for the fanboys that she wants to drink the tears of, right? So dumb. So once again, everyone, these are the types of people who like to lie. These are people who actually like to tell lies. They tell lies to make people perpetuate their narrative, their bullshit narrative. Anyway, if anyone who's still here, if you haven't hit the like button, please do so, and like, share, and subscribe. Share on Twitter. I've got a few videos. So thanks to all of you for hanging out with us here. We're not going to be too much longer, but because I know that at this point we're competing with world-class bullshitters. But I know that you love them because you've been following them since the beginning. I remember you were saying that you were. Oh yeah, they're awesome. They're absolutely awesome.
And you pointed ones to point this out from before Ghostbusters 2016, before even any of this stuff. I mean, you were saying that. I think you were. Go ahead.
Well, they were some of the first people I saw pointing out the problems with the merchandise and the toys not selling and going on clearance. He would walk into stores. I actually, at the top of the blog, I have a page of all their videos embedded in it. In the main menu, you can go to and watch all these stores he goes into. And the stuff's just sitting there, not selling months after month.
The toy videos, yeah. So I just have a quick thing to say on that. Have you looked at any of the analytics that have to do with digital versus hard? Like, the reason I say that is because I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and to them, like a toy, like an actual physical toy, is literally punishment. To them, because they're just, all they do is just sit in, and they just, they have their phones and their tablets, and that's all they do.
I've heard that argument before. On that particular page, there's a number of blog posts that I link to as well that are relevant to that topic, and there are several articles that show that action figure and toy sales were actually increasing, except for Star Wars. So, it kind of puts a kibosh on that thought.
So we lost your audio for a second. Can you repeat that one more time?
Oh, so there's a number of articles that essentially show that toy and merchandise sales in general and action figure sales are actually increasing, except for Star Wars.
Holy cow, that debunks the entire thing. I thought there was a part of me that, forgive me, because I don't have a whole lot of time to do research because I do have a full-time job that I still don't get the time. So that in and of itself, goes. So it's like, so all other physical toys are actually increasing now. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, their sales are increasing except for Star Wars.
God. That is hilarious.
There's a number of articles. If you scroll down there, there's a number of blog posts that, I'm not just making this stuff up. I link directly to source articles that talk about this stuff.
Oh, by the way, L337, the worst. That is the
yes.
worst character ever. That is the absolute worst character ever. I hated that character. That character
I did
ruined the
too.
movie, and the movie sucked
I only
anyway.
saw
Like that.
I only saw it in the trailers, and I hated it.
Oh my gosh! And it was just such an awful movie. Like, and I mean, I get why some people liked it because of Last Jedi. Me personally, I think it's actually worse than Last Jedi because it was. Anyway, I just hated it. It was horrible. It was a really bad depiction
Yeah.
of Han Solo, and it's like if they had just chosen Anthony, and is it Anthony Gruber is his name? If they had just chosen him, I would have been that much more on board. But it was just silly. It was a silly pile of crap. So
it was, and then the actress was doing talk shows, and she was talking about her feminist activism and how it affected the role, and that just turned me off to the whole thing.
and they've
no interest whatsoever. Yeah,
and they brainwashed younger women to say that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to make, I feel, I cannot even imagine what it'd be like to raise a son in this climate. Do you have children? Do you have children? Do you have to raise a son in this climate?
No.
Okay.
No.
I pity anyone who has to at this point. But no, so we're gonna anyway. Everybody, please check out the blog. Even just sifting through all of this is just an incredible material to be looking at, and I'm blown away that you had pointed this out. This is an incredible thing. I did want to jump really quickly back to one of those really interesting articles that you had from the that was regarding Feige, because I wanted to talk about Kevin Feige. You said that he may not be telling the truth.
Yeah.
Not Feige. No. Well, I think you said about Feige. Let's see. What did you say? Kathleen Kennedy needs a man's guiding hand. Avengers bosses crossing over to fix Star Wars.
I went and posted that blog post over on the Mary Sue to see if I could get some reaction, but none yet.
None at all, huh?
No.
Well, it's so funny how, and that whole backlash that Data Racer 117 posted, by the way, about that.
Yeah.
It's like all those people, that's all they can think about. I knew that, and that's all I knew that they would be saying is, "Oh no, a white man taking back over Star Wars," when they were doing such a good job. And it's
right. Well, yeah, and the headline I put on there, it's designed, it's a joke, it's supposed to be amusing, it's supposed to be funny, but these SJWs will take it really deathly seriously, and that's part of the fun too, because that's funny also.
Oh, that's so funny. Moving up. So do I click on this, or do I just go further down? Let's see.
What article are you looking for?
I'm just looking at the Kathleen Kennedy. It's just the one. I think you said here. Let's see.
So it's talking about how all of a sudden he's going to be doing a Star Wars movie, and Feige and Kennedy are working together, quote unquote. Sure they are. Yeah.
And
I know. Matthew Kadish just put up an excellent post talking about the possibilities that this is actually potentially the first phase in replacing Kennedy or pushing her out. And he talks about certain signals you'll see if it's one way or the other. And he's worked in Hollywood before, so he's got some experience with this stuff.
Wow.
So he's pretty interesting to read and listen to.
I'm gonna. What was his name again? Who is it?
Matthew Kadish. Matthew with 2 T's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to check that out because I hadn't. This is something that's incredibly important and incredibly pointed. It's like all the things that we had to go through to get here. It's like they're finally fixing things or changing things around. And I've been saying this forever. They've been saying it forever. So many people. At least Collider was saying that. Get Feige involved. He knows he's a big Star Wars fan. They had been saying it for a long time. It's been said for a long time. And it's like, finally, after all this stuff, Midnight's Edge just pointed this out the other day, how they talked about how how Feige had basically made himself known and kind of let people know about it, but or that he wanted to be involved, but was rejected.
Yeah.
Because it would be, Kathleen would be deemed being sidelined by a man, and it's like, no,
they can't have that narrative. They cannot have it. I know Matthew Kadish disagrees with me on this, and he's probably got more clout in this area than I do. So folks would be wise to defer to him. But I suspect that this is one of the reasons why Carrie Hart left so quietly. I mean, when she was hired, there wasn't a big gala event, or, there wasn't a parade or anything like that, but there was a number of articles kind of celebrating her hire. And isn't Lucasfilm great for hiring this, woman of color and all this stuff? But then when she left, instead of getting the same articles saying, she did a great job here and she's moving on to bigger and better things, there was just dead silence. Nothing at all. And that was kind of curious, in my opinion. Matthew's of the opinion that it doesn't mean much of anything, but who's to say?
Wow. I remember what was her big thing that she said. She had basically said that I can't remember. I actually made a meme about her, and I don't remember what she had said, but she said some really stupid things about Star Wars. She doesn't. It's like these people don't really even get it. They're not even real Star Wars fans, and it's
she's fairly forgettable. I mean, I don't really remember all the stuff she said either anymore. When I go to write this book, I'll have to review all of my blog contents because it's been going on for so long that I've forgotten a lot of the material, particularly early on.
So real quick, I want to pay attention to our lovely, wonderful chatters. Anyone in the chat, if you have not backed the Disney Star Wars is Dumb IndieGoGo account, please do so right now. It's like, give $5, give $10. This is something that Itchy Bacca does all day long, and he does it for us to keep the world and keep the SJWs honest. He exposes the hypocrisy and bigotry that is rampant everywhere, and this stuff needs to be exposed. I just put it in the chat. If anyone hasn't, please go check it out. Just donate a little bit. If you can't, donate what you can to Itchy Bacca. He deserves it. He's the real deal. He's a real guy. So let's see here. So
have you seen the third trailer for my IndieGoGo?
No, is it on the IndieGoGo?
Yeah, it is. It's on Vimeo. I can send you the link if you like. You can play it if you want. It's pretty good, I think. Not to toot my own horn, but
hopefully my computer won't crash. I'm worried that it will, but we can try it. Well, I think it'll be okay. Let's see. Hopefully I don't have to. Let's see. Vimeo, because Vimeo, I know that for the reason, because Vimeo uses a lot of it'll crash. But we'll see.
Well, just avoid it then. Folks can go to my IndieGoGo and they'll find it embedded in there. But if you get a chance, watch it, because there's a lot of what you were talking about, hypocrisy, a lot of statements from Kathleen Kennedy, and stuff like that. That just it's a very fun trailer.
Well, if you can try, let's just try it. Because what'll happen is if anything happens, I'll just crash and then I'll just drop out of the chat. If that happens. But if you want to grab the link and if you can send it, or if you can put it in the description or something, if you can send it to me, that's great. I'll try it. It's worth a try at this point.
Sure. I think I just sent it to you in the private chat.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can pull that. Still figuring this stuff out. Okay, let's see here. Snowdub, welcome Snowdub and Music Entertainment, and Tuck and Roll. If anybody hasn't checked out that song yet, badass song. So Death by Saber says he actually said that he's witnessed the milking of a frog in what movie was that again? I can't remember. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining. Let me see if I can pull this here. Let's see. Where did you said you put it in the chat and I don't see it
in the private chat? There's live comments and then private chat.
Chat settings.
Or I can send it to you. I can message it to you over on Twitter.
If you can, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Might have to do that. I just don't see where the damn. Hold on, wait. Private chat. There it is. God.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. If I can. Okay, it's the Vimeo. There we go. I see it now. If I can just pull that. All right. Let me see if I can pull this now. Hopefully it'll let me in without me having to link. Can you see that now? Or no? Let's see.
No, I don't see it on my end.
Let me go to my other thing here. I think I just had the wrong screen share, and that was it. Okay, let me do it here. I think I got it here. Thanks everybody for joining. Support Itchy Bacca. He's a real deal. Okay, here we go. And hopefully we'll have audio. I have no idea if we're going to have audio or not. Sometimes it allows to play audio and sometimes it doesn't. Can you see it? Can you guys see this?
No, I don't see it. Well, looks like it locked up.
But I'm working on
right.
Yes, I apologize. It's just I'm running everything off of my laptop, which is all right. Okay, so
we can throw the link out in the comments. Folks can go.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. Let's see if I can do that. So anyway, let's see if I can do this. Private chat comments. Here we go. Here is there it is. So if anyone wants to grab that, that's the trailer. That's the Itchy Bacca's latest trailer. So check that out. Okay, so I wanted to kind of say, you also pointed out how Star Wars in general had been kind of one of the things that I wanted to point out too is that George Lucas has always kind of had politics in mind, but he didn't make it this overt thing. He didn't make it this thing where it's blaming and shaming. And I think that's the big problem here is that everybody convolutes it and makes everyone think that the politics should be something else, something other than it really is. So anyway, I just thought it's just something to kind of think about and understand. Do you have anything to add to that or?
Well, you get folks, SJWs primarily, who always talk about how there's always been politics in Star Wars. And of course, there has been on some level, but they've always been large scale politics, things that happen throughout the 6,000 years of human civilization, the rise and fall of civilizations and empires and things of that nature. Not the very tiny, small-minded political fashions trends of the day, like Orange Man Bad or whatever it is.
Yes, exactly. And
because
I think
that kind of stuff immediately and permanently dates the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, completely. And especially when I don't know if anybody's recently watched this, but when that big video of George and Kathleen, passing, he's passing the treasure trove of stories over to her and everything, and she has her evil smile, and all that happened. But he goes into detail of why he wrote Star Wars and why it was and everything, and how he says specifically how it's this updating the idea of this upend when power is upended and changed and people misinterpret power. Yeah. And it's almost as if he's pointing out how this misinterpretation and the molestation of power is something really big here and something that needs to be recognized and thwarted. And it's almost as if he's describing Kathleen Kennedy in this process.
Strangely, yeah. It's very, very large concepts that he was dealing with, epic concepts. Yes. And the new stuff, the Disney Star Wars, is dealing with very small-minded topics of the day. And that's partly why it's so boring.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I just remembered so many. Anyway, we're not going to get into too much detail on that, but I did want to talk about Okay, and then you one of your last episodes, the last interviews, you also pointed out how the luminous beings are we, that Yoda talks about how we're not this crude matter. That's what the Jedi are supposed to be focused on, but that's all that the SJWs focus on is the crude matter.
Right, it is, and it's infuriating because there are serious issues and problems to solve in the world. Things like curing cancer, curing AIDS, figuring out how to grow food in the desert, terraforming Mars, all these great things that we could be doing. And they're squabbling over skin color. It's so childish and stupid, just stupid. It's like arguing with somebody over the color of a car. It really is that dumb.
It really is.
It's a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
On every level.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm gonna bring in our friend Shaney Entertaining here. Welcome, cool. Shaney.
Oh,
how's it going, sir? I am sorry about it. I apologize. I sent you the link a while ago, and then come on.
I was waiting a while ago.
I can't hear you. Do you have your mic plugged in?
Hold on.
That's better. Thank you. So anyway, we're just bringing this in to kind of discuss and talk about everything. So, how you doing? How are you doing, Shaney? You doing okay?
Just fine. Good. I was listening to you guys rant and rave about Disney.
How's your health? You okay? You doing all right?
Same. It is what it is. Got to move on.
Okay. All right.
I don't let nothing get me down. So
all right.
Keep going. Yeah. So I'm taking it you're excited about Feige?
Oh, I have mixed feelings, it's good news that potentially Kathleen Kennedy could be on her way out, either pushed out or replaced. On the other hand, Marvel is going to be going into its woke phase. Yeah. So, and Feige is in charge of that. So it could just be more of the same,
Well, so that brings about. Have you guys seen the most recent Critical Drinker video?
No.
He pointed out directly that because Feige couldn't stop talking about how great Captain Marvel is, right?
Yeah.
How she's unanimously favored and all this stuff.
That's
and how
big red flag. Yeah.
And she has 4 more movies on her contract still.
Yeah. Hello to the new boss, same as the old boss.
So, well, his entire thing was this video. He talks about get ready for Brie Larson in Star Wars because it's. I mean, I think that's.
Yeah,
that's my next video. You're gonna see Brie Larson in Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Even because their whole plan, and this is, I firmly believe this too, is that they were gonna pair up Captain Marvel and Spidey, and they were gonna have the two of them in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to try to make.
That was never gonna happen. Never.
You don't
believe the hype. You know why that was? Okay. You know why that was never gonna happen? Because there's no way that Tom Holland could make Captain Marvel look good. Did you see the ass comparison? If they just had them side by side, you would be looking at her ass going, no, right. He can't make her look good with an ass like that. No way.
Yeah.
That's why I don't believe it. How could that be? He would make her look worse.
Because they can easily put in an ass stunt double.
Well, they did it. They did in Marvel. Yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
So so this is my prediction. They're going to have Tom Holland and Brie Larson in a Star Wars movie.
Tom Holland is a stunt double.
Tom Holland has a double for her ass.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a movie. It'll be Ryan Johnson's trilogy. He'll direct. Brie Larson will star, and it'll be Benioff and Weiss writing it. It'll just be a nightmare all the way around.
just light me on fire right now.
Right.
And it's all produced by Kevin Feige, so everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, it's great because it's Kevin Feige producing," but it's gonna be like just the shit show of the David Benioff and DB Weiss and Ryan Johnson and Brie Larson. It's shit show Star Wars. Oh god,
Yeah. I'm not going anywhere near the theater playing that. Not a chance.
Will say
in holy hell.
I will say this. The one thing I like about Kevin Feige is he's good at creating worlds. He's good at organizing the worlds and getting things together to make a cohesive long-term storyline. And I think that's the one good thing about it. The woke stuff.
I was definitely impressed with the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. Nothing had really been done on that scale, probably since the Universal Monster movies of the 30s and 40s. So it was a big thing, and most of those movies are pretty good. But
yeah, I think he has a way of. He does have a way of doing it. Now, I wish that the Russo brothers would be directing. An actual Star Wars movie, because the Russo brothers, I think, are really good directors. And I'd love to see them.
Yeah, they're pretty good, especially with large ensemble casts.
Yeah, and you don't even have to have a large ensemble cast for Star Wars to make it good. I think you just
you don't have
a regular cast.
Yeah,
and I think if they could keep something simple like Captain America, not Civil War was the other one, Winter Soldier. I think do something like that, like a little serious tone. Not jokey joke the way like the other ones have been.
Right.
I think it'll be fine. It depends. It all depends, right?
It all depends on the story. I think there's a whole spectrum you could do. You could do small movies that focus on a single bounty hunter, or you could do an epic, Braveheart type of war movie, and anything in between. You could do. One thing I would like to see, honestly, I would like to see a Jabba the Hutt movie, done like Goodfellas, just because he's a mobster, right?
Yeah.
So,
are you kidding me? That would be incredible. It'd be incredible. And they forgive me for saying, but the Clone Wars, all the Hutts, they kind of it was kind of cheesy, kind of stupid when they did that. But I could totally see that a very hardcore gangster flick.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd see that more as a series. More as a series.
That would be good too. Something along the lines of Sopranos.
Kermit the Log says, "I'm sorry, but this stuff is too great to not." Obi-Wan Whoopi Goldberg. He said that's an idea for a movie. Obi-Wan Whoopi Goldberg, and then of course he says the Hutts were gay. So they were all they were all gay lovers. No. Yeah, there's a lot of things that could have been done, and I think like as soon as The Force Awakens was first announced, everybody was going nuts about these ideas. Oh my gosh, we could make a Jabba the Hutt gangster flick and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, everybody was going nuts about their ideas. Like there were like the fans themselves. If we had the money, we could have created awesome Star Wars movies. And it's like this is what the people who are being paid to do it for. This is what we got, and it's like they just have no idea what it is. They don't get it.
It's a shame. Some of the best material, Star Wars material, coming out today is coming from the fans, really.
Yep.
Because the stuff coming out of the studio is so substandard.
Yes. Well, again, it's because it's too corporate mentality. It's just they're not doing it for the passion of it. They're not doing it because they love Star Wars. They're doing it because they're trying to please the fans, and they're trying to please all the little demographics going around and all the politics. They're trying to please everybody and nobody at the same time.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. You gotta worry about the story, worry about the story you want to tell, make something, and not theme wise, a real story with real characters. Not say, I want the movie to be about this theme and then build the story around the theme to the point where you have to change the characters, but actually have the theme incorporated into the story with good characters written.
Right.
And that's what they don't know how to do. They're just, like I said, Mickey Mouse is sitting there going, what the hell do we do here?
Yeah, it's an assembly line right now. They're trying to produce these widgets over and over again, and it's just not working.
I just realized
Kevin Feige is the best at that. Kevin Feige is the best at working within within that confines of Disney's parameters. You know, that's what
he's
they
pretty
like
good.
about him.
The proof is in the pudding. That's for sure.
I just.
But you're not going to get substance.
But you know, they're about to take a turn, so I don't have high hopes.
I can see the MCU being gone completely at this point. I don't care about it anymore. That's gone to me. That's dead to me. It'll just become a woke fest. That's ridiculous. But if Feige does take over Star Wars completely, I am a little leery if Brie Larson does get involved. I will not support that bitch. I still have not even seen Captain Marvel, and I still will not see that piece of trash.
I didn't go to see it either. Honestly, you know, obviously I don't care for the woman, but there was nothing in that movie, in those trailers, grabbed me. Nothing.
Yeah. Blackhat Cinephile says the Russo brothers are mostly responsible for keeping Brie Larson minimal in Endgame. They knew she'd ruin it, and Feige agreed. But the Avengers are over, so the woke can go full stream now, and that's what it will be. And great, good for them. Good on them. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. The next 10 years are going to be very interesting cinematically for the MCU. I'm curious to see if they actually follow through or they dial it back, like everybody's kind of speculating about. Anyway.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It'll all depend on the box office returns, I suppose.
So this is gold. Have you guys heard about this? Kylo Ren's is the name. So this, I have to give a shout out to Stevie J Reviews. He's not here right now, but he's an Australian guy who he sprung this on us and talked about Kylo Ren's TIE fighter's name is the TIE Whisperer. So,
oh boy,
yeah, you should do a blog post about that. Is she? It's pretty good. It's pretty funny. It just goes to show like what their whole mentality of everything. I mean, it's like, what is it, the Horse Whisperer or is it the TIE Whisperer? I mean, you know, and Vader's was called the TIE Advanced X1, and right. So it's like, I mean, that's just what it is. What it is. Maybe it wasn't Black Death or whatever. But it's very different.
It had a very military sounding name, whereas this is the Whisper. What it sounds like a seen on TV product, you know.
Yeah. So, Cheney, anything to say about that? The TIE Whisperer?
I don't have anything to say about it except for I hope it's destroyed with him in it. That's all I hope.
Kermit the Log says Rose Tika will pilot the sex assaulter.
She already did. She piloted.
She already did. She did. She's like, oh, dude, that'd be actually hilarious if like Finn is like, hey, it's your birthday. That's like it's like the first scene in episode 9, and Finn is like, hey, it's your birthday, and it's like a ship with a big bow on it, and he's like, yeah, check it out, it's your new ship. It's called the Sex Assaulter.
Well, that's where their mind is. It's probably coming.
That's right. Oh man, that's really good. Okay.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting when the new one, when episode 9. I want to see the resolve of everybody. I just want to see the people who said they weren't going to see it. I wonder if they're going to hold to that. I want to see if, you know, I don't think anybody. Yeah. I want to see like how the apologists. I want to see them come out. The ones who hated The Last Jedi, but now are going to love this because it's like they're going. Yeah, you know what I mean. I want to see how hard people really are going to try to do gymnastics to like this. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be fun. And I want to see how many of the people who loved The Last Jedi are going to now hate this. You know what I mean? It's going to do a flip where they love it. Because I mean, how many of those Last Jedi lovers loved it because it was almost like a troll? They just thought it was genius because it was a troll job, and they just loved the subversion of expectations.
Right.
I was going in for a Star Wars movie, and they gave me, I don't know, The Land Before Time, and now this is just mind blowing. And
yeah, so if it goes back to a regular Star Wars movie, they'll be upset. Oh, it was pedestrian or whatever it is they'll come up with. But it will be interesting to see It will be interesting to see the reaction to it. Yeah. Certainly, that'll be more interesting than the movie itself.
Yeah. I am dying to see the 100 different cuts that it is. I mean, not 100, but apparently there's like 20 different cuts of this movie. It's like they could literally. It's like a choose your own adventure thing where they're just literally, okay, we're gonna go this way entirely, and it's gonna be this, and it's like. I wonder if that giant fleet of Star Destroyers and the giant fleet of Death Stars is real. It'll be funny to see what actual, all these leaks that we're getting, these leaks, if they actually, which ones exist and which ones don't.
Yeah, I have no desire to see it. I'm not even actively boycotting it. I just have no interest whatsoever.
Well, I just want to.
Go ahead.
I want to see. It's like when you want to see a car wreck. You want to see what happens. It's
Yeah.
like you can't avert your eyes. You shouldn't. It's like a plumber's butt crack. You can't look away. It's just horrifying. But I can't not look.
Yeah,
that's sort of what it is.
Yeah.
And I want to see just to see what they're. I have to. I mean, I don't want to pay money to see it, but if it's good, fine, it's good. I'll give it credit. But
for me,
I'm going in very like.
For me, it feels like the accident is a nuisance because I'm just trying to get the work. So I just want to get past it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be bizarre to see this thing, man. It's gonna be really weird, and JJ won't stop. He won't stop with this thing about making her overpowered. They don't believe in the whole concept of a Mary Sue. They think it's just all sexist bullshit. And it's like, you do realize, no, you are making her too much, and she will be overpowered. She'll make the entire Death Star flow up. She's going to be like, oh, I just had this dream, and blah.
Did you see that interview with Daisy Ridley where she was talking about how, the Mary Sue is sexist because there's no such thing as a male Larry Craig, but there's the Gary Stu,
the
right?
Gary Stu, yeah.
Completely oblivious,
First, I mean, I don't even understand how someone could deny the Mary Sue-ness of her. I mean, she spoke Wookiee, guys. She spoke Wookiee. She knew how to speak droid instantly. Just look at the languages.
Right. Yeah.
She immediately knew how to communicate with BB-8. Look at the original series. They needed to get someone to speak to R2-D2 because even those who actually use those droids all the time still didn't know how to communicate with those droids. So they had to get someone to communicate with, like C-3PO. And she picked it up like this. She picks up every language, come on.
Yeah.
That's even powers away from her. She's learned beyond compare.
The whole thing with her being a pilot and a mechanic because she was a scrapper, how the hell does that work? I mean, people running around in the city yanking copper pipes out of the walls so they can take them into the salvage yard for money because they're doing that. Now they have the experience to go fly a 747. It doesn't make any sense.
She didn't just pilot it. She didn't just pilot it. She did like aerobatics with remember the scene where she flipped the Millennium Falcon over and shot with precision on their first try?
Yeah.
Luke was pretty good at shooting wombats out of his AT, but that was something he'd never done.
When I saw The Force Awakens, I was in the theater, and that scene where she catches the lightsaber, jumps in and catches the lightsaber, I was trying to suppress a laugh so hard because I was with some younger members of my family and I didn't want to ruin it for them. But oh my God, was that funny?
You're talking about the scene when it comes out of the snow.
Yeah. It was some scene. All of a sudden, she jumps in from out of frame and catches the lightsaber, and like, oh, here we go. Just so funny.
It even smacks Kylo in the face on its way over, right? So there's no way that he's able to stop it. He just whoa, it's too powerful for me. Yeah. So it's like has to go past him. And that just goes to show the point that I've been making forever on this channel. JJ, when I remember seeing very initial interviews of it, and the only thing that was on his mind was the aesthetics. He didn't care about the story. It was all the aesthetics. He said they asked him about what Star Wars is about. He just was like, well, you got to have your X-wing fighters, you got to have your TIE fighters, and you got to have your stormtroopers.
Yeah, it's like it's the facade.
The point is it's 30 years later, so you're going to have the exact same aesthetics? No, George Lucas. Anyway,
so that was one of my criticisms as well. It's 30 years later. Even there were a lot of arguments about why the Empire might still be around, and even so, it's still boring. I want to see what happens after the Empire, what happens in the power vacuum they leave behind, who rises up, who's fighting now. I want to see the technology advance another 30 years. So instead of seeing World War II style ships, I want to see like Vietnam style ships, right, or something along those lines. And that was a big gripe with me for the sequel trilogy, was the art design was so boring. When that recent story about George Lucas came out and he was talking about there's nothing new, I completely agreed with him.
Well, he called it a retro. He called it a retro movie. That's what he said.
Yeah, he sure did.
They made a retro movie.
Yeah, he sure
Why
did.
would you do that?
They were trying to go safe. They were trying to go safe with it. I think that they looked at what I personally think they looked at what happened during the fans getting outraged at the prequels and they said we need to have nostalgia. We gotta tug at the nostalgia heartstrings, and so that's why they couldn't go too new. They went with a nostalgic theme to everything, and that's the reason why I think they went that route as opposed to trying to make innovative and new things. Let's just because they just want to, as long as they don't. I think they felt, again, with their brains and not with their hearts. They want, with no passion involved, as long as the fans don't get too angry at us, in the beginning, they don't get too angry with us and we just copy what they already know, they'll be fine with it, Yep. And then people were too fine with it. They were like, at first they were okay, but then we said it's a rehash. So then Mickey Mouse in his infinite wisdom, well, we got to go completely opposite direction then. Yeah. We got to hurt their expectations. That's what they want. He doesn't within reason, dumbass,
Yeah.
Well, once again, it's like that whole thing with that interview with Bob, the Bob Iger book that came out. His thing, he was just talking about how they all decided that it needed to go this way because of the way it needed to look specifically, and it had to be quintessential of how it felt like Star Wars. And like they were claiming like they knew what Star Wars was when George is what Star Wars is.
Well, and even so, the prequels, as much as there is to criticize about them, the art design was solid, and financially they were successful. They sold a lot of merchandise, so there was really no reason for them to kind of go down this retread route, which has really just resulted in disaster.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
No, story-wise, the prequels I love. I freaking love the prequels. The first thing I did when I came home from The Last Jedi was I watched The Phantom Menace because I was like, I want to watch something completely opposite from what I just saw, and so I watched The Phantom Menace, and I was like,
they're kind of for me, they're kind of a mixed bag. There's things to criticize about them, but there's really good things about them too. It's kind of a strange situation.
Would you guys agree that in general, I'm not saying across the board, I'm just saying in general, do you think that all this bullshit would have been a little bit less, would have been a little bit more forgiven if Luke had been treated well?
Yes, 100%.
I think
probably still would have been. I think people still would have not liked the movie. I think they would have liked it at first. Then the more they saw it, the less they liked it. Mm-hmm. Because it's just there's a lot of plot holes and issues with it other than just that. And I think the other stuff would have come to surface a little more. But I think the initial anger and hate that was there was all the way that they treated Luke. I know for me personally, the way they treated Luke was the final straw of anything. I couldn't see anything. It's like they treat Luke like the minute I saw Luke brandishing that lightsaber with that malice in his face, I'm like, all bets are off. This movie is shit. I can't even pay it. I can't even go past this. Like this is like frozen in time for me.
There's definitely something to be said for that. For me, I still would have been bored with the whole Empire, the diet sodium-free Empire Light. It's just boring to me. Yeah. But for me, what really did it even more than the movie itself was J.J. Abrams' comments about being threatened by women and being called racist, and sexist, and misogynist by all these people out of Lucasfilm. That made me more angry than anything in the movie,
But also you have to take into account, though, people wouldn't have gotten that angry at it had it not treated the characters so shabbily. Yeah. Had they not thrown Leia out the window like Superman.
I think you're right. I think most people would have been just satisfied with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had they not, smacked Poe in the face, had they not told Rey that her parents are nothing, a bunch of scavengers who left her for no reason.
Yeah.
Had they not, you know what I mean? Those things would have, if what's her name didn't sacrifice herself needlessly when droids were piloting ships since the beginning of Star Wars. Why are you even doing that? It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. They treated the Finn character very poorly. I mean, they just this ridiculous kind of comedic foil, almost a throwback to minstraels. It's really it was really almost offensive.
That really was offensive. That was. He was one of my favorite characters. I was so interested in his character because the fact that he's a defected stormtrooper. I want to know more about that. Like, there's got to be a really interesting story. It's not just he just defected over one day or a bad evening or something. This had to have been a buildup of time. I want to know his actual story. That would have been in detail.
I agree. They could have done something very interesting with that, particularly if they made him a TIE fighter pilot rather than a janitor, because then him and Poe would have had a good dynamic of an X-Wing pilot and a TIE fighter pilot, maybe competing with one another, a little bit of brotherhood between pilots, and it would have been more interesting.
A janitor,
that would be camaraderie among men, and that's a no-no in the feminist narrative. Blackhat Cinephile says Tom Holland would be more likely to flirt with you in prison than Brie Larson. Death by Saber says Betty White as Darth Sidious. Kermit the Log says okay, let's see. Reclaimer 117 says Emperor played by Christian Bale dressed as Dick Cheney. Reclaimer 117 let's see. Let's see. Echuta. Oh yes, the Sentinel says Echuta. Can anybody guess what character says that? Damn it! I don't know what character. I know that's a character that's in like I want to say Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, because C-3PO's response is how rude.
That's right. Okay, so that was yes. I remember. It might be that other one of those other droids. The clone in Clone War, the Hutts were gay in the Clone Wars show. That's what the Kermit the Log was saying. They were very awful. They were just pretty silly. I was not a fan of them. The Hutts. That was like the one bad thing that the Clone Wars TV show did was the Hutts. Like there was one Hutt that talked like that. I was just like, you got to be kidding me, really? He's like this weird Southern gentleman voice that was just like it was like a caricature of its own concept. Tyler Perry Medea as Jabba the Hutt. Death by Saber says. Let's see. Blackhat Cinephile says the Russo brothers are most likely responsible for keeping Brie Larson. We saw that. Rose Tico will pilot the sex assaulter. Let's see. Blackhat Cinephile says if you take if you take Captain Marvel's part of the Thanos fight and cut it in just right places and remove it, it's not even noticeable. Oh, that's cool. Death by Saber says Rey fixed the compressor on the Falcon. Exactly. And she's like, I fixed the compressor. And then it's like,
yeah. But that was a running gag throughout all of Star Wars, was that stupid compressor. He couldn't get that thing fixed from the beginning. Remember, he kept failing on him in the Empire Strikes Back.
That's right.
And then that's where the whole thing was. And then all of a sudden she fixes it. She fixed the thing that was foiling, the corner of the ship for this whole time.
That was one of the interesting aspects of Han Solo, was he was a really good pilot, but he was kind of a shitty mechanic.
Yeah, well, Chewbacca was the one who was the mechanic.
Really. Right. Yeah. So Death by Saber says, Rey, you're offering me a J-Bob. Rey's job on the Falcon is to unclog the shower drain from Chewie's hair.
Yeah, that thing would have flooded like crazy.
Jakku Ray, but they didn't have to do that. Let's see. Need more purple-haired. Let's see. Reclaimer 117 says, need more purple-haired post-wall women showing men what's up. That's Star Wars. Yes, exactly. Kermit the Log says 100. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe he's talking about 100 women that he's got in his bed with him. Maybe that's probably what's going on there. Purple.
That's the moment.
Death by Saber says purple pube women messing up my Star Wars. Exactly. Reclaimer 117 says here's what they needed to do. Third movie should have seen Rey turn and have Luke stop her and emo skater boy. Okay, yeah. It's funny how everybody sees Kylo Ren as this emo dude. It's pretty silly. Star Wars Broom Boy, this Death by Saber says Broom Boy, a standalone movie. Yes, that was something that everybody was, touting, especially talking about, Ryan Johnson's stupid trilogy. Blackhat Cinephile says Poe was also mistreated. He got smacked basically for winning a battle. So correct. Yeah. He got smacked around for winning a battle, and that's just what they'll continuously do. And it's just really stupid. Reclaimer 117 says that's the dude at Jabba the Hutt with the tentacle on the on his head. Okay, that's who he's talking about. That guy, I guess that's who they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Snowdub says slap that like button. Thank you so much, Snowdub. Appreciate you all. Thanks so much for hanging out. We got 14 people in the chat. 1,400 actually. Just kidding. No, appreciate you all hanging out with us. Hey, if you are watching, please check out the IndieGoGo that we have going on with Itchy Bacca. This guy is the real deal, and he exposes the hypocrisy so that we don't have to. Please check out his thing. Check out his thing. Go and just donate $5, $10, $20, whatever you got. Help him out here. He is getting closer to his goal, and we need to help him get out there and get this thing, because he is the guy telling the truth while the rest of everyone else is lying to you. They are all liars, and we need the truth, so we need to support real journalism.
He's telling it like it is.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Seriously. Amy, Shani, you said Amy's the Rancor? Who's Amy?
No, because someone posted it. Yeah, someone said that feed Amy Schumer to the Rancor. I said Amy Schumer is the Rancor. What was I going to say? You know what I was really disappointed in? I was disappointed in the fact that I really liked the idea of the Knights of Ren. I thought that was an interesting concept. It was better than the Empire coming back or anything like that. To think of a group of almost, I almost thought like the Knights of Templar. Like if you think of this as the great time of Christendom of the Empire, and this group of rogue knights that are not Jedis, but they're like practicing in the Jedi ways or the Sith ways, and then they just want to recapture all the lands that used to belong to the Empire on their own, like this traveling band of rogues. I thought that would have been an interesting and then having Kylo Ren being part of that or leading that at some point, I thought that would have been an interesting, completely different take on the thing. And I thought to have four Sith type people together fighting would have been just awesome. Like evil.
I agree. Focusing on the Knights of Ren would have been much better but than what we got. That's for sure. But I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah,
was it about the Knights of Ren, or was it about JJ's ideas about the Knights of Ren?
Well, I kind of agree with his point about taking something from the Knights Templar, doing stuff like that, something new and different. Because otherwise, it's just the same crap all over again. Just boring.
Yeah, it's like rehashing the Empire, but see, the Empire, if you look at it like as if it was the Empire from let's say history, right? Which is the Roman Empire. Then the Roman Empire, like Christendom, was like the Knights of Templar. They were trying to recapture the old ways from the time of the Roman Empire and recapturing the Holy Lands and stuff like that. And I thought to them, if they were to do a modern version of that or this kind of version of that, it would be try to reclaim. Like I thought him getting the mask of Darth Vader would have been like the Shroud of Turin. You know what I mean?
Well, right, because the Templars were kind of going after religious artifacts, and they were protecting pilgrimages from Europe to the Holy Land and stuff like that. Something could have been based on that concept. I thought for myself, I kind of thought Well, here's a situation where prior to the Empire, you had separatists. So they're not going to be all happy about joining a new republic since they weren't happy with the old one. So you're going to have separatists probably coming back. You're going to have people trying to create a new republic. You're going to have people that want the Empire still around. All these different factions. You'll have local warlords, imperial moths that had taken over local systems. It would just, in my opinion, it would have just been chaos, total chaos, a mess.
What about us? What about this? Even no one ever touched this. The clones. What happened to them? How about the clones? Form their own planet and and they want to conquer because we've been treated like shit for years, so now we want to take over some shit. How the clones, that would have been something different too. That's multiple, not just.
But they had a short lifespan. They had a fast lifespan, so they would have been dead pretty quick, unless someone kept making them, because remember how they had a fast growth, right?
Well, at what point did they stop cloning them?
Yeah, so that's another question.
Yeah. Start recruiting. How did that happen? Ultimately, I think the backstory for the sequel trilogy is more interesting than the one they're actually telling.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're right. Which is usually the case.
I got a way that would have fixed The Last Jedi, or at least the end of The Last Jedi. Check this out. If Rey went, what you need to do usually to get people interested in the third movie, right? That's what we're going to, that no one cares about. To do that, you typically you would give them a cliffhanger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect cliffhanger. Rey goes dark. Luke is still left alive to save the rest, what's left of everything. If they had left Luke alive to try to pull Rey back into the light or something, you know what I mean? Because Rey had every reason to go actually dark. Because she was just like, Luke sucks, Luke's awful, screw him, blah, blah, blah. I want to join you, Kylo. Having her actually join Kylo and then have her be actual dark and have them face off together, but almost kill Luke completely.
I wonder if they're going to pull a soap opera stunt where they say, "Oh, The Last Jedi was just a bad dream," and start from scratch.
I wish they would, but they won't. I mean, when that whole thing was going around, everybody was just laughing at that. But it's it doesn't make you wonder if because they're desperate at this point. They're really trying hard.
The only reason I say that is because entertainment has done that before. I think the last season of Magnum PI was essentially pulled that stunt because they had ended the show with him dying. The fans were upset, so they brought him back for another season and turned it into a dream, and he lived at the end, I believe. Yeah,
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah.
I think that the Red Letter Media guys were right. I don't know if you saw what they said. They said
the time travel thing.
Oh yeah, and they had evidence to support it. It wasn't just a theory. I liked their ideas. If you look at the clips of the trailers, they have the old. They're showing the satellite dish on the Millennium Falcon was round again in the trailer, and I'm like, but it got destroyed, so it was a square one throughout the whole new movies. So now it's round again. There's a few other things that they had, like why is Darth Vader looks like Darth Vader is flying that ship that Rey jumps over, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of scenes that makes it seem like, did she travel back in time using some sort of force time travel, and she's just sort of going to go through periods of time. I think that's what she's going to do, is appear in different periods of time in Star Wars and fix
just like Endgame, you just or Back to the Future 2, just end up going to different time spots and trying to fix them. And so if she does that and they don't fix Luke along the way, which I don't know, maybe they will, maybe they won't.
It's going to be so bad. It's going to be so bad.
So we just need to catch up on the chats here real quick. The Sentinel says, is Itchy also Jar Jar Abrams on YouTube? And I don't think you are, right?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
So, yeah, Jar Jar Abrams is actually fantastic, of course.
Yeah, he's great.
He's just he was a part of the exposure. He was part of the exposure menace that you guys were, the beginning of the fandom menace exposure.
He was there from the beginning.
You guys, we should call you Exposure Squadron. That's what we should call you guys, Exposure Squadron. I don't know. You're just, or maybe just, I don't know. We should have a name for you and call it something Squadron, because you guys are definitely a huge part of that. It's been an incredible ride seeing all this stuff unfold. It's crazy.
It's a pretty crazy story. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's real. I seriously, I want to make a movie about this, like a real movie series about this, just from different perspectives of certain YouTubers. And I know it's like literally impossible, but I want to make it into a real movie, like it has a real story and real characters dealing with this. Like I think that in and of itself would be hands down.
That guy who the guy who'd produced the documentary about Darth Vader that Lucasfilm had sued, he's working on a movie.
Oh, you're kidding? Really? Like a real movie about it, or or just documentary about it?
Like a documentary about it. Yeah.
Well, that's the first step. That's the great, because once you have a documentary about it, then you can really put together a narrative. So he's the same guy who did the David Prowse documentary. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
So if anybody hasn't seen this yet, this is extremely important to point out, because everybody's been talking about George Lucas, and I love George Lucas. I love him. But it is something that's important to point out, that if you have not seen I Am Your Father, it is something that was on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore, but if you haven't seen it, it's the documentary about David Prowse, and the poor guy is still undergoing health trauma. But I was following him on Twitter for a long time, and I don't know. But anyway, the poor guy went through hell. He's a great actor, and he went through hell. I mean, they were going to show him, they were going to try to, they reshot the scene with his face in it. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
Okay, so David Prowse, the guy who played Darth Vader, he's like 10 feet tall. That's the reason why he got the part, was because he's so big and he needed to be a threatening villain. Mm-hmm. And the scene in Return of the Jedi where he takes off the mask, it was supposed to be, at least David Prowse thought it was going to be him. Yeah. And they didn't, they had a different actor play him. And it was heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. And the poor guy was like, kind of, I think if I remember correctly, they did have some legal restraining order against him, because he was so upset. And it's like, yeah,
I know there was an issue. I remember reading about an issue like that with him. And I've heard mixed stories from people meeting him at conventions and saying that he was a little bit cantankerous. But he's entitled,
Well, if you think about it though, like, is he any more hard done by than the guy who was sitting inside R2-D2 the whole time?
Yeah.
Who never got his place?
Yeah.
You're right. You got a point. Definitely.
Come on, he had his job to play. And that was what his job was. The little guy, I forgot his name, who was inside R2-D2 the whole time, who never got his face in anything. Nobody could recognize him at a party. You know what I mean?
But I think the problem with that is that, like, that was probably an understood thing, but he was under the impression that he was going to. They didn't even tell him that his voice was going to be dubbed over with James Earl Jones. So anyway, it's one of those things where we can just speculate, and that's kind of what it is. But
I think he should be proud that he was part of something so epic.
Yeah,
he should have been, and move on, because there's a lot of people who played these tiny little roles and things. There's a guy who's holding in Terminator 1. There's a guy who's holding the Terminator like that, who's underneath. He's not getting, known at parties for what his job was. And
sure,
he was
right.
Everybody has their role to play in a movie, and there's tons of people. I feel, if he thought that he was going to be a star over it, even the guy what's his name? I forget his name. C-3PO. Even he did the parts and the roles, but he wasn't originally supposed to do the voice of C-3PO. They had another voice.
Right.
And
which is actually amazing that he was like, oh yeah, let's do both. It was one of those things where it was very lucky that he had a good voice for it too. And it's a sad thing. I just think the point is that from what I read and what I saw in this documentary, etc., is that he thought that they were going to use his voice. They didn't tell him. They anyway, whatever. We don't need to go on about it. It's one of those things where recognize David Prowse and he's awesome. Reclaimer 117 says this has been a great show, guys. Need more live streams. Thank you so much, Reclaimer 117. Death by Saber says Amy Schumer is a Gamorrean guard wearing a thong. Kermit the Log says Knights of Fern is what we got. Yeah, instead of the Knights of Ren, we got the Knights of Fern.
Yeah.
Let's see. Stephen Walton, of course, recapture the old ways by slaughtering pagans. Sure. Let's see. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to just catch up on some of these people here. They could. Okay, Reclaimer Woman 7 says they could have made a movie where they had to search the galaxy for a shrubbery to bring to the Knights of Ren. Sorry, what?
Is this a shrubbery?
That's
I love that.
That's so great.
We have a Knight of Ren who say meep.
Yes. That's so good. If you haven't subscribed to Shaney Entertaining, this guy is an incredibly brilliant dude. He does voices like you wouldn't believe. There are people who say they're voiceover, and then there are people who are actual voiceover guys. Shaney is the real deal. Subscribe to Shaney Entertaining. Death by Saber, if you could put his link in the chat, that would be awesome. Let's see. Death by Saber says Star Wars Moisture Farmers trilogy is what I want to see directed by Shaney Entertaining. Yes, Moisture Farmers trilogy. Stephen Walton says Templar did do that frog word. I love Templar history, Stephen. Let's see. Stephen Walton says, see, you guys are thinking out this from a perspective of Star Wars fans. Disney Lucasfilm isn't run by Star Wars fans, of course. They're run by idiots. Death by Saber says, who was the very last clone and what's his number? What's his number? Star Wars, the last clone. Dun, 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 dun. So anyway, let's see. Reclaimer 117 says, thanks for explaining that. I remember that Magnum episode, but was confused by it. Blackhat Cinephile says they couldn't explain Luke's attempt murder of Ben and his seclusion on the island, but by saying that some Sith Force ghosts had been trying to possess Luke and turn him dark, and he's hiding to protect. Yeah, it's so true. It is one of those things. It's just so silly, and we're anyway. So if you haven't, anyway, we're going to try to taper this off here. Thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate it. We're in direct competition with world-class bullshitters at this point, but I'm going to put it in the chat here one more time. If you haven't jumped on to the IndieGoGo for Itchy Bacca, check it out. It's a great worthy effort. Give him some money, support him. This guy does it for free. He's writing an awesome book that is exposing all the liars and the cheaters and the haters out there of the world. To quote Taylor Swift, unfortunately, sorry everybody. Sorry, can't get away from it. Okay, so Blackhat Cinephile says I made the scene a group. I made that scene a couple years ago with Prowse's face superimposed over Shaw's. It was a bad effect, but I had to make the point. Exactly. That's a cool thing to do. So anyway, so really quickly, are there any, so that is one thing to point out here. Everybody go check out Disney Star Wars is Dumb. I did want to kind of finish here with, what are your guys' thoughts on episode 9? Do you think it'll actually do $1 billion? Do you think it'll actually do you think it'll actually go under? Do you think it'll be actually under Solo, a Star Wars story, Soy Wars story, or do you think it'll actually do better? Do you think it'll actually, nobody thinks it'll go for.
Definitely.
I wrote a blog post about it. I think it's going to do less than Solo. I'm pretty.
You really do?
Yeah, I'll probably be wrong. But I list out my reasons, and a lot of it has to do with the diminishing toy and merchandise sales and diminishing interest in Google algorithms. It's just the signs are all there.
Interesting. Is it? Do you know what it's called? What is the name of it? What it's called?
Let me see here. I'll bring it up here. I predict the rise of Skywalker will do less than Solo at the box office. This is the name of the blog post.
So its returns will be Solo.
That would be incredible to see that. And I think that was one of the most insightful things that was pointed out tonight, was the fact that, and I was not completely not aware of that. I was not aware that this was something that I thought for sure that it was just the fact that, little kids don't like solid objects to play with, but apparently all the other toys are going up in sales, but all the Star Wars stuff is going down.
Yeah, that's what a number of articles have pointed out.
Okay, so let's see. An anonymous SJW recently posted the following comment on this blog: the only irony I see is that you block people because you can't accept being wrong when we tell you are, hence why you try to twist certain realities. Sorry, realities for yours. So let me give you one to drill to your thick, tiny brain skull. The Rise of Skywalker will make $1 billion. It will be considered a success because the big 200 to 3 million blockbusters are considered successful if they make $1 billion. Well, it does. You'll soon see you and your cult's attempts to kill it were irrelevant. Blah blah blah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I just, after that, I typed up this blog post and laid out my reasons why I think it's just going to bomb. It's going to be a historic bomb.
Oh, okay,
I wish I could take that view. Unfortunately, I don't. I think I want it to do bad because I think they need a serious nosebleed, but I don't think that's going to happen. I personally think that the temptation to want to see, whether you liked it or not, just the temptation to see what they're going to do with it is enough for it to at least I think do way better than Solo. I don't know if it'll make $1 billion. It all depends on if it's an actually good movie, because I think it all depends. If it's an actually, and I mean good movie, I mean relatively good movie. I don't think you're ever going to get a good movie, but I think people's expectations are so low right now, and I'm not using that as a pun anymore.
Yeah,
that I think that our what we did think was going to be a good movie prior to The Last Jedi is probably not what we think or hope to be a good movie now. I think we just now want to see. I think for me personally, I just want to go into a movie, not get my nuts cracked by feminists.
And it's it's certainly possible, and probable, but I sense that there's a lot of apathy creeping into the general audience, and I think that's really what's going to kill it. The boycott won't really have much of an effect, but apathy seeping into the general audience is.
But you're going to get that guy. You're going to get those guys that you didn't get in The Last Jedi. The ones that went to see things 5-6 times. The ones that were like, this was the most awesome movie of all time. It was so good. I can't believe J.J. Abrams fixed everything. I went to see it with my family 300 times this weekend.
Yeah, there will definitely
gave $1 million.
There will definitely be those guys. I just think there's going to be far fewer than were at The Force Awakens.
Well, I hope you're right. Because
I'll probably be wrong.
No, it's sad because isn't that sad though? Because I want it to do well, but I don't. You know what I mean? Because I think if I thought that they were doing the movie for the right reasons.
Yeah.
We're trying to fix it for the right reasons. I think I would want it to do well, but all the signs point to they just want to appease and shut people up. That's not how you make a movie. That's not how you make it.
But
there's no passion in it.
For me, at the same time, one of the things I'm pointing out in this particular blog post is the fact that interest is diminishing all across the board. In toy and merchandise sales, in Blu-ray and DVD sales. The show Star Wars Resistance was just canceled. The comic book sales are dumping. Nobody's going to Galaxy's Edge. The trailer that they released for First Skywalker was boring as shit.
They don't even have a real trailer out. Like, there's not a real.
Yeah.
I guess you could call that a real trailer, but there's no story to follow. It's like there's nothing really that desirable to.
People are walking away from this. I don't even have morbid curiosity at all. I mean, I don't care what happens to Rey, Finn, and Poe, Kylo. I don't care about any of them.
Yeah,
I don't.
But you do care about Luke.
Yeah. Not Jake.
That's the only guy. That's the one guy I care about. That's the only thing I'm interested in. I'm interested to see if they fix Luke. That's the only thing I really care to see, because that's the only thing that really, the rest of it, whatever. I don't. You're right. They ruined Finn. Screw him. Poe is a laughing stock. Leia. How are they going to end Leia? That's another one. Just how they plan on ending Leia. How they plan on fixing Luke. Those are the only two things that I have any sort of interest in at all. And I'm kind of don't want to see it too, because I'm not sure I'm going to like what I see.
Yeah. It's going to be a shit show.
They had it's like they had the chance with Leia. They had the ending of Leia was paved for them.
Yeah.
But that apparently wasn't good enough for them. It's like the only she's the one who's actually dead. Carrie Fisher actually passed away, and she's the only one that's still alive. It's like, how did you manage that? Guess what that was? That was feminism. That's
so
feminism
weird.
right there. That's feminism ruining a story because they said, "Oh no, she can't die. Her character has to go on because feminism."
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's a big part of it.
Anyway, that's just my opinion.
I also think the art of writing is also dead. I'm pretty much not just with Star Wars, but if you notice, the art of actual screenwriting is it's a lost art. People don't. I think millennials, unfortunately, they don't. And I feel bad because I don't think they really know what a real story is anymore. I don't think they know what and it's hard because it's all themes. They just know how to write a theme, and then they manipulate the story and the characters to fit a theme, and that's not how you do it. A theme is important.
I completely agree. Most of the young screenwriters conflate, storytelling or screenwriting with political activism, and that's part of the problem. Propaganda is not entertainment. They're two different things.
Yeah.
And like you said before, you can have politics, but it can't be about politics. The politics have to be a secondary to the actual storyline. And if you want to infuse a little bit of politics within it here and there, which could be annoying which they did in Transformers Bumblebee, but the story, it still was a decent enough movie that you could enjoy it. This one, they just completely went full-fledged.
They're lecturing the audience, and it's ridiculous.
Not subtly.
Yeah. No, not subtly. It was everything that came out of Rose Tico's mouth was on the nose. It was embarrassing screenwriting. It was embarrassing. And it just
purple-haired girl. Come on, how on the nose do you need to have a purple-haired SJW who's telling a white privileged man about his egotistical, mansplaining, toxic masculinity and smacks him in the face?
The whole thing was just ridiculous. But they're sitting there lecturing the audience, and these are people who play pretend for a living. And they're lecturing the audience about politics. Why would we listen to them?
Privilege.
Why on earth would we listen to them about politics and privilege?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Meanwhile, the guy that they could actually the one minority that they the man of color that they had in their film, the token guy that they said they didn't need because they're so much more woke than the original was. Lando does flips around, Finn when it comes to a decent character, and they still act as though they have the moral high ground. You don't have no more. What are you talking about?
No.
You have one token black guy in your film still, and he's way worse than what and is more irrelevant than anything that Lando did.
Lando was mayor of a small city. He was the general who led the attack on the second Death Star. He made the firing shot that destroyed it. He's a war hero. And Finn's a janitor.
He had his own personality. He had his own charisma. You could make a movie around him and what he's done. Finn, maybe in the beginning you thought maybe you could, but the minute he got off that ship, he was just following. Can I join in the fun, guys? Can I do this, guys? Oh, I'm going to escape now. Oh, can I join? Like, he has no character of his own. It was just from then on following, and the storyline, and that's disgraceful. From and then to call themselves woke when they treat a character like that. That's disgraceful.
There have been suggestions that Boyega himself hasn't been too happy with the direction of his character. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but a little while ago he made some interesting comments. But it'll be interesting when everybody's NDAs expire. The documentaries and the books come out telling what went wrong.
When will that? Do you have an idea when that does it? Do you have an idea like how long that usually is, or how long that might be?
I don't.
I wonder, because like what is usually like, what is it, like 10 years, 5 years, 10 years? I mean, when can people actually talk about what happened? Probably long after they can even make more profit on it, right?
Well, probably until they can do a second DVD with extras and interviews, that they can put on it. That's when they'll release them.
Dude, that's, oh gosh.
Because have you ever watched the Alien DVDs with all the interviews on there, and the actors are bitching about this and that and the other thing?
Well, I love the Alien series, so you're talking about like the complete box set that has all four of them.
Yeah.
Okay, my brother actually has that, and I was looking at it, but I haven't watched the detailed. What do they complain about? I'm just curious, just like briefly.
Well, I don't remember. I haven't watched it in a long time, but they're complaining about production issues.
Okay.
And particularly in some of the latter movies, the third and fourth one.
Part of me thinks that Disney won't disclose any of that. They're not. They may not even allow that to ever come out.
It's possible.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to seeing what that would happen. So anyway, what are your thoughts, everybody? Thanks again for joining us. Do you think that Feige will do a good job? If Feige does end up doing a trilogy, do you think it's going to be involved with Rian Johnson and Brie Larson and everybody else? Are they just going to combine all those crazy people all together and have Feige oversee it so it doesn't become a complete shit show? Do you think that that's actually going to be something that actually happens? Do you think Feige will do one movie, or do you think Feige will do 3 movies? Do you think it's just going to be a Disney Plus thing? I mean, honestly, if they have Feige in charge, I do see some better things happening. But it's just too little, too late for me personally. For me personally, it's like it's a shame that we had to go through what we had to go through to get here. Why did we have to see? Why did Luke Skywalker, the most important character of the entire series, have to become a casualty in the warfare of social justice bullshit?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's too little, too late for me.
Yeah,
I don't care what they do, and it really has nothing to do with the movies themselves. Making a bad movie is perfectly okay. It's done all the time. It was all the behavior from the Lucasfilm representatives, the name calling, the false accusations. It was just unbelievable. And it continues to be unbelievable to this day. Oh.
Yeah. I think this is what I think Feige does, because I think Feige does this the best. So I think he's going to stick with what he does the best. He's going to do a prequel of Rey, where he's going to,
interesting.
I think he's going to go into her origin. I think he's going to do the origin of Finn. On its own, and then he's going to do an origin of Poe. I think he's going to go back, do origins of those stories so that they make sense, so that they're we can understand them better. I think then he's going to, and they're going to have solo films. Then he's going to have an ensemble film where they come together for another go at some point. And I think that he's going to include new characters, probably have their own movies at that point too. And then going into the future, because that's what he did with Marvel. And I think he saw a success with that with Marvel. And I think if he tells a good story with an individual character, a smaller story, right, with an individual character in the Star Wars universe, and then have this, like the same thing, like a like an ensemble cast where it becomes Star Wars, all these guys come together, I think then people will be all excited for it. I think that's what he's going to do. That's my guess.
Dude, that's
possible.
It's funny to see when in all actuality, if they Nerdrotic said this the other night, this is actually so true. When in actuality, if they just said, "Okay, everybody, Feige's taking over, erase everything," like everybody would just be like, "Oh!" Like people would just throw their hats off and go nuts and be like, literally, anyway.
For me, that's the only thing that would bring me back to the franchise. If they completely retcon everything that Disney has done up to this point. And look, they've done it with Terminator. Every sequel after the second one acts as though the previous sequel didn't happen.
That's
you know, so they're constantly doing it with that.
But
that's going to be a funny movie to see, this new Terminator. It's going to be funny.
It's another one I have no interest in.
No, me neither. You know, it was done after part 2, and I don't understand why they keep trying to make them. It was a perfect movie and a perfect ending. They should never have made another Terminator.
If they wanted to make a third movie, what they should have done is got Edward Furlong back and, you know, got him back in shape, whatever they needed to do to get him going and get him and Linda Hamilton and made a third movie that way with all the original 3 if they wanted to do it. But they destroyed. It's like, once again, it's like everyone's afraid of being the woman, being sidelined by the man. But look what happened here. All the men being sidelined by the women.
You know,
so that's okay.
I was interested in seeing a John Connor movie. I know they tried that in Salvation, but I wanted to see something more the future war as depicted in T1 and 2.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the only thing that's actually kind of interesting would be that at this point.
Yeah, and we never got it.
No.
Yeah, it's like
the rest of the stuff is just rehashing the same things over and over again. Yep. See, to me, to make this movie, I don't care. You want to make the Terminator a transgender? I don't care. You want to make the Terminator a dog? I don't care. You know why? Because it should have been done already. And you know what? Hollywood needs to understand this word. It's called new things, new ideas. You know, remember once upon a time when creators wrote new ideas? Remember back in the day when Terminator was something new?
Yeah,
it was an idea that popped out of the mind of the actual nightmare of a man named what's his name, James Cameron.
Yeah,
you know, they don't know how to make anything new anymore. That's my problem. I don't care. I am so bored with all of this. They're just let's make Gandalf a woman. Make something. I don't care. Like, make something new.
Right.
It's so funny that they're doing that. That's going to be so weird to see. And I mean, I don't know. I'm a big Lord of the Rings guy. I love Lord of the Rings, but it'd be weird to see that on Amazon. Blackhat Cinephile says, if every SJW in the world went to see The Rise of Skywalker, it might make back half of its budget. Maybe. That's a high estimate. I don't think Hollywood understands yet how few SJWs there are. It's so true. It's because all of them are in Hollywood and they're all there. That's it's like they're all there in California, even though, you know, there's crap all over the streets. There's homeless that are dying, being homeless or being shot by MS-13, like just killed and slaughtered by MS-13. And it's like, it's horrible. Anyway, it's like, and they have no idea what the hell's going on. Death by Saber says Admiral Akbar actor was not happy with the writing on TLJ. Of course, the poor guy was crying in his suit. The poor guy wept. The poor grown man wept in his suit.
Yeah.
Ugh. Blackhat Cinephile says that the escape pods are there for the purpose of escaping doomed ships. Finn had the right to get on it. So true. That is so true. And Rose was like, "No, you got to stay on and get fucked with me."
Because I have designs of molesting you later.
Stay on and get slapped by the purple-haired lady. She's great when she slaps people. Oh my gosh. The escape pod. Okay. Kermit the Log says F. Iger. Jakku origin. Death by Saber says it's gonna be a Jakku origin. Yeah, it's like more origins of the stuff that we don't give a shit about. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's exactly right. More origins of the shit we don't care about. You know,
it's good, and it's all going to air on like Disney Plus, or maybe it'll be interesting to see if the Finn origin story or the Rose Tico origin story, and they put it in the theater. Like, you know that they're never going to put that in the theater. That's going to be on Disney Plus. There's no way.
Am I the only one? Am I the only one that said that the girl that actually died? Remember the Finn or Rose Tico's sister, the one that actually died a hero. That I have more an interest to see her story than Tico, like the actual more interesting girl that sacrificed herself, for the cause. She's actually interesting, and she was the one that the pretty one that we should have followed, and then they gave us Rose Tico as a consolation prize. She's the less interesting mechanic who does, this girl, she sacrificed. I want to see her story.
Well, the first thing she does is hit him over the head and knock him out, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's okay, but once again, it's just hero. But it's just to me. Sorry, I don't know what everybody else thinks about this, but to me, that's just feminist. Gonna punch the guy out, knock him out.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
It's just
you're not allowed to leave. This isn't a free country.
It's predictable.
You pledge allegiance to nothing.
Yeah.
Anytime.
It was supposed to be a rebellion is generally a volunteer force, in most cases. He
was a stormtrooper to begin with, first of all.
Yeah.
He abandoned his people. What makes you think he would stick to you? He doesn't want to, and he made his intentions pretty clear that he didn't want to have anything to do with this, and he just went along with everything.
So dumb. Everything, the only thing I even liked in that movie was the crystal foxes. I thought was kind of a cool design.
Yeah.
But even those were taken from a Polish artist.
Oh, okay.
And they never made any kind of, I don't know, like a statue or an action figure. I might have actually bought one of those early on before I became mad with Disney and their representatives, but you don't see it anywhere. The only cool thing from the whole movie, and they don't produce anything.
That's right, huh? It's like, but they make, have this Holdo character, have this giant figurine of Holdo.
It's like having an action figure of your third grade teacher,
who hates you because you're a man.
Yeah,
because you have an action movie in a movie that had no action. Yeah. It was just inaction. It was just a movie of two like still moving forces going at the same speed, talking, whining, and with each other. What was the action? There was fake action at the end where a fake Luke Skywalker was standing up against a real, but there was no real action in that whole movie to be had. There was one action sequence that was the worst choreographed sequence in the history of man, but they call it a genius sequence.
So boring. I mean, the movie just seemed to go on forever. I just went on and on.
I actually enjoyed the first scene. Besides jokey joke stuff, I kind of rolled my eyes at that. But I meant when Poe was doing his thing and shooting the things, and I was like, okay, that's a little bit of action. That's pretty cool. Everything after that, but once those really, really slow moving bombers that for no reason, like what happened to the old bombers that moved fast? Remember the old bombers,
the awesome Y-wing fighters? Yeah, it's like everything's regressive. Everything's regressive. They're obsessed with the Nazis and they're obsessed with World War II, so they're trying to make it all World War II stuff.
And they don't understand the Nazis.
Yeah.
They get all their education about the Nazis from Indiana Jones and Hellboy. If any of these people actually sat down and tried to watch a World War II documentary, they'd probably just fall asleep.
They don't even understand gravity, let alone the Nazis.
Right.
They don't even know how gravity and space works.
Yeah.
They think you could breathe in outer space somehow. They think that bombs could be dropped in outer space.
Right. It's just so everything was dumb in this movie. Everything.
Every character. Blackhat Cinephile says Ruin Johnson should be banned from filmmaking for life. Agreed. Death by Saber says Blackhat Cinephile, I think he is already. We will find out after Knives Out and how well that stupid Orange Man bad movie does. Blackhat Cinephile says I think he is already. Let's see. Death by Saber said that banned because bad publicity will follow him. Blackhat Cinephile says, I hope so. Let's see. JV says, what's funny is you still have fans that think Star Wars is still that special franchise that wouldn't have a reboot. Disney has made Star Wars no different than other franchises now. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I have to think about that for a second. It's funny is you still fans.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Would you be against? Okay, we know that we cannot bring back Carrie Fisher. We know that we cannot bring back some of these guys, and Harrison Ford won't come back. However, would you be like, let's just say all the smoke is cleared, the next movie comes out, it's like a mediocre garbage movie, and someone said, let's fix the franchise by starting the story from after Return of the Jedi, okay, but doing it CGI, but a completely CGI. We're talking the best effects they can do version of it with good voice actors that are like great. Pay homage to it.
And do Han, Luke, and Leia like right after Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But they've already made comics that are in canon that do that. But no, that would be amazing if they did that. I agree with you. I think that's great. I read all those comics, and they're actually okay. There wasn't.
They could do anything they want. I mean, they could.
You're right.
They made the EU, irrelevant now, so they could do whatever they want and make something new if they had to. Well, I'm just saying, if to fix the characters, would you be against an all CGI version of? And I mean, talking top of the line CGI, like you wouldn't so good that you wouldn't even know the difference.
I think if it was done well, yeah, I would be open to it. Honestly, I just want to see more Luke. I mean, that's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I'm here on YouTube talking about Star Wars, is because of Luke Skywalker. That's the only reason I don't know if you guys see this, but it's I have the Force. So anyway, but whatever. So, but yeah, I'm with you there. I think that would be amazing to see. Is everybody wanted to see Han, Luke, and Leia again? That's all everybody wanted to see was Han, Luke, and Leia together again. And quite honestly, if they were able to put me back in that dream space, headspace again of just being just in love with those characters again, and seeing Leia develop as a Jedi, seeing Leia and Luke, learn together, and that would be just amazing to see. Let's see. So, let's see. Death by Saber says Rain Johnson can go make TV commercials for Tampax. Sorry. Blackhat
He would subvert your expectations, and they wouldn't be about Tampax. They'd be about something completely. They'd be about, like, I don't know, trombones or something.
Hey, everybody, subscribe to Death by Saber. This guy's hilarious. He makes these awesome videos of where he puts lightsabers and these really funny stuff. There's one that he did there most recently of forgive me, Airsoft Fatty, and puts lightsabers in their battles, so it's pretty freaking hilarious. Blackhat Cinephile says Ruin Johnson hadn't done anything really impressive before he got the Star Wars job. How the hell did he get picked? Of course, I agree completely. I think everyone just thought Looper was just like the most brilliant thing in the world. A lot of people thought that, and because Joseph Gordon-Levitt and what's his name? Bruce Willis were playing the same person, and ended up being against each other in a time-traveling sci-fi escape. Ken Kersey says cleaning the slate is the only way to save the franchise. I completely agree. A KOTOR movie would be the best new way. New actors, new directors, bring back Lucas as a producer. And I was so excited for Dave Benioff and D.B. Weiss to do that. But and now it's like I have no idea. Those guys have no idea what the hell they're doing. So at this point, I don't even care. Kermit the Log says MS-13 took over Lucasfilm. Kermit the Log was referring to the girl that you said we're talking about. He says the effable Asian girl, the girl that everybody cared about, that wanted to see survive, of course, is killed because, Kermit, let's see. JV says, just think we lost a Tron Legacy sequel for this trilogy. And dude, I am with you there, JV. Anybody watch the Tron Uprising? It's called Tron Uprising. It was an animated series that was based on the Tron series, and it was freaking amazing, by the way. I completely agree with that. Finn just came here for the white women. That's what Kermit the Log says. Finn just came here for the white women. Why did they park on the bench? No one knows who they are. Just park in the parking lot. JV says it was the Battlestar Galactica episode called 33, but done horribly wrong. Exactly. It's exactly what it was. It was totally exactly what it was. You guys know what they're talking about? What JV's talking about here? No. It's the Battlestar Galactica, the most recent Battlestar Galactica. That's what the Last Jedi was based off of, because that's kind of what was happening was someone in the Battlestar Galactica in the Galactica fleet. Someone was a mole, and so they were releasing information to them where they were going. And so whenever the fleet would jump into hyperspace, 33 minutes later, the Cylons would attack again, because someone was being leaked the information, so the Cylons would always follow them, and they did it for several days. And that's basically what the Last Jedi was kind of stolen from. And I totally agree with you on that. But Itchy Bacca, you didn't like the most recent Battlestar, or did you like it?
No, I didn't care for it. Okay. And it was for the same reasons. The production staff were rude and obnoxious, calling us names and stuff like that. But hey, I don't mean to cut it short, but
that's fine. You got to go. That's totally fine. It is getting late, and we appreciate you very much. I'm going to put the thing one more time in here. Anybody who is watching and listening, thank you so much for joining us today here at the Fanatics of Film. We are talking about the insanity and how important it is to expose the truth and expose the lies, because so much of everything is convoluted these days, and it's literally us against them. And please, Shani and I are going to stay on for just a couple more minutes, but Itchy, sure. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for hanging with us. And I just put the link in there. Please, everybody, if you get a chance, check out his IndieGoGo. When is this book being released? Do you foresee
in roughly about a year?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for I cannot thank you enough for that. I mean, you've provided work for so many YouTubers. You've helped YouTubers grow huge, and it's because you've exposed real truth from real horrible people who just want to destroy all that we love. So,
well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, and it was a lot of fun tonight. It was a lot of fun to talk with you guys. So, thanks for that too.
I cannot thank you enough for coming on, and I hope that this helped you out financially. If not, let me know, and I will. I'm going to kick you back some. So thanks again.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great night.
Nice meeting,
Thank you, Itchy. Appreciate it. So everyone, if you haven't had a chance, appreciate you so much on that. And let's get into some of these chats real quick. I want to get some of these people out here. Death by Saber says Finn was a trained First Order trooper since he was a child. He should have been killing them like John Wick, and said he was an idiot getting by with luck. Jar Jar Finn. Totally. Blackhat Cinephile says I want the Skywalker and Solo kids and the Luke clone. Exactly. So even all the way down, you're talking. He's referring to the Thrawn trilogy there, the Luke clone at the end of the Thrawn trilogy, which was bizarre but still really good in that weird way. Seeing Luke battle himself would be incredible. Have you read the Thrawn trilogy, Shani?
No, I haven't. Okay. I haven't gone into the EU extended universe.
So the long and short of it is simply this: there's kind of a weird dark Jedi who's kind of evil, kind of weird, but he helps create like a Luke character, Luke clone, and Luke ends up having to fight a clone of himself at the end, and it's kind of nuts, but it still feels like Star Wars. All of it feels like Star Wars. Timothy Zahn understands Star Wars, and that's why everybody wanted Thrawn so badly. Blackhat Cinephile says in the sequel trilogy, I wanted to see 60-year-old Luke and versus a 30-year-old Luke clone. Dude, that would be really cool. Isn't there like a what's his name? Will Smith. Will Smith has a movie that's coming out where he's fighting a clone of himself that's younger, right? No?
Guys, we all know that we all wanted to see an old Luke far away out of existence, sitting on a rock, right after giving up on the Force and drinking titty milk out of a disgusting cow. Come on. That's what we all wanted. That's what we imagined when we first thought of watching Star Wars. Come on. Let's be realistic, guys. That's exactly the ending to our hero we always want. Instead of actually doing something heroic, he projected himself, as a distraction for lesser characters to escape. That's exactly how we expected them to end. Come on. Let's be honest.
So stupid. I mean, and so George apparently, according to some things, George Lucas did have the idea of having him kind of be exiled, and we understand that, but it wouldn't have been for that reason. It's easily explained. If Kylo had killed Mara Jade, that's the reason that it should have been. That's the reason it should have been. Sentinel says
I think that Luke being on the island in itself wasn't a bad idea. When we first heard about it, I was just like curious. Why would he be on an island? Maybe he's guarding something, protecting something. Maybe he is, he is. But to like give up, which is what Mark Hamill said, to give up on the Force just because he made a mistake or he screwed up. That doesn't sound like Luke. That doesn't sound like, you know what I mean? He just to piss away and moan alone and then go there to die, but yet still give everybody a little bit of a little Easter egg puzzle to come find him. Hey everyone, I still want you to find me. Here's little riddles to coming to find me on an island. It's ridiculous. None of it was cohesive and none of it made any sense.
You're right. It doesn't. You're so right. It ended up not really making sense at all. And they're going to bring Mara Jade back in, and she's not going to even care about Luke when her whole story is like based on Luke. Like it's all dependent on Luke. Her story is, and they're just going to mess it up. She's going to be someone who apparently. Did you hear about this? They are going to bring Mara Jade back, and it's going to suck.
No, I haven't. I haven't heard. I try to. Everyone asks me that question too. Like, have you paid attention to any of the rumors? And I just think to myself, I don't like it because I don't want to get my hopes up. Hopes were held up by, because I listened to all the rumors and all that stuff, and I fell for that trick, and then in the second one they just let me down. I'm just trying to like, you guys, if there's rumors, good, bad, I don't want to hear it. Just not saying you in general, but like I don't get I'm not enthusiastic or what do you think, or get even overly mad because I really don't know what the truth is or what isn't, or what they're leaking on purpose. Because a lot of times they want to leak stuff on purpose, right? Just to get a gauge of what we think and what we don't think, So that's sort of why, like maybe Jar Jar's a Sith. I don't know. I like that idea, but I honestly, at this point, all we can hope for me personally, is that they fix Luke. But I don't know how they're going to do it, and nor do I, I just don't see it even possible at this point. And
I don't think JJ cares enough about Luke to really fix him. He's just going to go. It's going to be like,
he knows we care, but he knows we care, and that's where I think they must have gotten that message. But above any other message, the message that had to have been done was, you screwed big on Luke. And you know what? We talk about what story we would have liked, what story we wouldn't have liked, and I really think that if they had done the basics right, I think we would have accepted most things, because I think to fuck up the way they fucked up, it's almost unthinkable. It's an unfuck-upable project. We could do the work for them. We were doing. Think about this, Ben. We were doing the work for them. He left all these Easter eggs and holes and plot holes and after the first one, after The Force Awakens, and people were more than willing to use their imaginations to fill the gaps that he had left behind and be like, this doesn't make sense, but if we twist this and we make this and put this over here, and then it would make, and all these fan theories that we were enjoying. We were doing the work for him to make us like it. And all they had to do was pick one of those that we did. Pick one. Yeah. Or then maybe pick none, but at least do it good. Not do the na we didn't like any of your theories. And in fact, we're doing the opposite of what you thought. So which is what we got. we got the bird.
My favorite thing that you say is that you talk about how you just, I don't want to feel like I'm just being kicked in the groin a million times. Like whenever you see any of these movies now, it's just like you've got to wear a cup because you're going to be kicked in the groin like the entire movie.
Well, I rewatched Bumblebee the other day. A couple of days ago. It was on Netflix. I rewatched it. No. And I was enjoying it again the way I was the first time. Going, oh yeah, I really like this is going really well.
The first 10 minutes are great.
Oh, my nurses don't make as much as doctors. Oh, out of nowhere, right in the north. Take off your shirt. Just, all these weird, stupid scenes are just I love going, oh, I'm Mickey Mouse.
I'm so glad that movie bombed, because so many people just didn't see that it was just like, it was like E.T. but done for feminism. Like, it was like a feminist E.T. bullshit. So but the Sentinel, everybody's check out Sentinel's channel. He's got a great channel. He does some really great work. Blackhat Cinephile. I want to see the Luke establish the Jedi Order. I want to see the Grand Jedi Master does, and how that ties into the rise of one Sith. Dude, are you kidding me? That would be amazing. And then that, like Luke trying to just temper the anger that the Sith has, maybe in the Jedi Order that's starting to have its take root and have its fruition there. That right there would be amazing. And then Luke having to deal with that later on afterwards, after it's left. And that was something that he would have been doing with Kylo. If Kylo had, burned down the Jedi Order, he would have been following after Kylo, trying to get him to turn back to the light the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Blackhat Cinephile says Looper has infeasible time travel. He can't kill himself to unravel his future self. Because if its future self doesn't exist, then his present self doesn't have a reason to prevent his existence. So true. That is so true about Looper. Yes, so true. So true. Sodub says, if anybody knows time travel and understands the storytelling through time travel, it's Blackhat Cinephile. The guy knows what he's talking about. Snowdub says, hail hot Asian women. Let's see, Kermit the Log. Blackhat Cinephile says, the Sentinel, he can do what you said, have the Skywalker solo kids, and Luke, of course. These are all things that we all wanted to see. And look, Kermit the Log says, end of Terminator with Christian Bale. Arnold fights Arnold. That would have been, let's see. Did we ever see that in any of the Terminator movies? I think we did see that once.
Yeah, we saw that. There was a scene.
Which one?
I think it was the fourth one.
Okay.
It was the female Terminator.
But did we see Arnold fighting Arnold? Did we see literally two Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, we saw. That's
right. That's right. That was it. Of course, that was the Genesis one. Yeah, which was bizarre. Death by Saber says, hail a ugly Asian chick if they're willing participants for sex. Okay, Luke died like a fart. Let's see. I'm trying to get through some of these. I just can't.
Died like a fart. I have to actually get going to before 12, so I got to.
I know it's getting late. I thanks everybody for hanging out so long. I'm surprised it even went this long. I was going to try to keep it under an hour. Thanks again. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. I hope that are we ready for Brie Larson Star Wars? I sure am not. I'm going to boycott the hell out of that. Everyone, subscribe to Shaney Entertaining. If you haven't checked it out, please check out his most recent video. It is hilarious. And is it the Skeletor Love Dave Chappelle? Is that the one?
Yeah, but I got one coming out tonight. It's called Thor the Mightiest Jedi. So check that one. It's going to come out. It's already done. I just have to post. It's going to be uploaded. Should be uploaded by tomorrow morning.
Awesome,
I would have uploaded it tonight, but it's too late already. So
if you can't, if you're checking out, I just put Cheney's channel in this chat there. Check it out. It's a great video. It's only like 3 minutes long, and it's hilarious. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. With Skeletor loving the Chappelle, Netflix special. Again, thanks everyone for hanging out with us. This is the Fanatics of Film, and have a wonderful day.
All right, man. See you, bud. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.